We have a therapist joining us who has some of the most inspiring advice to help people face the hard truths to live a happy and healthy life. She specializes in treating life's everyday problems. She's a dear friend. Welcome to the show, Dr. Spirit.
Yes. Hey, listen, you guys don't need me. You are doing amazing right now. I'm sitting back here like, this is what I'm talking about. This is what healing looks like, people, right here on the stage.
Oh, Spirit, we love you. Listen, I learned so much from you from when I first met you years ago on CNN and HLN, and you are just a true gift. So I got to hear your opinion on this. We were just talking about how Steve Burns from Blue's Clues hid his depression behind a mask while filming the show. How often do you see people internally struggling but outwardly appear like everything's okay?
Listen, we're all struggling. We are all having a hard time. And most of the people that need help the most, we'll never see them in our office. That is the unfortunate part of it, because we don't recognize that what we're going through rises to the level of illness. And so that's why I'm happy that you guys are talking about these things today, because it's everyday life stressors that have the potential to make us sick.
Yeah, that's very true. Speaking about those stressors, I know for a fact there are people out there right now that are caregivers. I know it because they have TV on in the daytime. Hello, everyone. I was one of them for my mom, and I still am. And I want to know specifically, Dr. Spirit, how does mental illness affect caregivers? And what are some resources? Because they're often just really overlooked.
Absolutely. Well, you know, first and foremost, what we have to realize is that we can't pour from an empty cup. So we have to take care of ourselves first, which often feels counterintuitive. And we don't prioritize our wellness nor our rest in the process. So we have to remember that caregivers need care too. And so before you can take care of somebody else each and every day, you have to find those ways to pour into yourself, fill yourself up first, and then you give the excess to everyone else. Now, I know that sounds easier said than done, so you have to remember that you are just one link in the chain. And sometimes caregiving is not about you having to do all of the tasks, but it's about getting all of the tasks done. So how do you enlist that support? And there are many organizations out there. A couple of the ones that I really like is, like, for example, the ARP Family Caregiving, and you can find them at arp.org/caregiving. The Family Caregiver Alliance is another one, as well as the Elder Care Locator. And when you contact organizations like this, they have directories for local care services. They have the ability to sometimes provide financial assistance so that you can bring in caregivers, and to help you identify all of those resources that you may need in the community, not just for the loved one, but also for the family and the other friends that are a part of that support system, to make it go more smoothly. You cannot burn yourself out, because if you burn yourself out as the caregiver, then who is going to take care of the person that you love, and also who is going to take care of you?
Bless you for saying that. Yeah. Bless you.
Well, Dr. Spirit, first of all, I love you, sis. You connected me with my therapist now, who you know I love. And it's very intentional, and I want to get to that, because how can stress and anxiety affect women of color differently? Because this demographic is one that we don't talk about as much.
Well, listen, it absolutely affects women of color in very profound ways, because mental health and wellness, believe it or not, in its inception was not intended for people of color. And so the idea that someone who was African American or Latina, or someone who was part of the AAPI community, the idea that we would access care is oftentimes not only seen as a sign of weakness, but also seen as a lack of understanding culturally about what it is that we're going through. And it's still a real challenge for women of color as well as men of color. Unfortunately, 86% of all licensed clinicians across the country are not a clinician of color. And so what that means is that when someone looks to access a mental health professional, they might not have that person really understand some of the cultural nuances that they're going through. And there are some really significant and unique challenges within various communities of color. And so what I will tell people is, do not stop trying, and also recognize that the person doesn't necessarily have to look like you to have the competency to take care of you. And we are moving now beyond what we call cultural competency. You guys may have heard this phrase as in the work that you do, but we're talking about more about the importance of cultural humility. And can your provider make space for your experience and for you to be the expert in your life and in the room as you're talking about the challenges? Do they have the desire to understand and to help you within your cultural understanding and your cultural lived experience?
Beautifully stated.
I could
Even
listen all day.
our senior executive producer, who you know well, Spirit, Bert Dubrow's shaking his head, very proud, like that he knows you, like he's so proud.
Kisses for me, please.
Oh yes, we'll give him lots of love. Oh, we're showing
There
the
he
camera
is,
on him. There he is.
Bert.
Oh.
You can at least wave, Bert. That's kind of rude.
Bert, she's looking at you. Wave.
I miss him.
Spirit, we love you. Thank you so much for joining us today, DBL Nation. To learn more about her,
Absolute
visit
pleasure.
T2enterprises.com or follow her on social media.
Thank you, Doc.